Jen, I just want you to know, because it's very likely I'm going to die before you, I am making it a requirement that this is played during my funeral and that you have to sit through it.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Never fear change. Life is too short for fear. Chase what is desired.
I can do this all day.
Would you mind identifying what you are?
We're the best friends squad.
That's what we call ourselves. Sort of like a team.
Welcome to the rodeo. Ladies and gentlemen, please sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride.
This is the way.
I have spoken.
Welcome to the Skiffy and Fanty Show, Torture Cinema.
VFX, car on fire.
That was literally the only good thing about this movie.
It certainly was the moment I realized that this movie was intentionally going to be stupid.
I'm sorry, the name didn't give it away?
I honestly thought that this was vying for an Oscar slot for next year.
Maybe we should tell the listeners what we're talking about?
And who we are. We haven't even introduced ourselves.
We haven't done that either.
I'm Sean.
I'm Jen.
And I'm Paul.
And we're here to talk about VelociPastor!
Woo! I literally hate you all, okay?
Why do you hate me? What did I do?
Did you vote? Paul, I believe you are a patron, and I think you had voting power this time around?
I did vote.
And?
I didn't vote for this.
Oh, okay, thank you. Then I let you get to live.
That's so nice. So, obviously, this was selected by our Patreon supporters at patreon.com/SkiffyandFanty. Thanks, as always, for voting.
Yes, we really appreciate it.
I will note that this film is Jen's fault because Jen saw it and then thought, I will do a whole list of films of mashups. And then apparently thought that maybe one of the films that we picked on the list would just actually be legitimately good.
No.
Would you mind telling us, Jen, what was on the list of absolutely stellar cinematography? Was Octopussy on there?
No, Octopussy was not on there.
Okay. Not the kind of mashup you were looking for.
No, that was not the kind of mashup that I was looking for, because that's not a bad movie. Well, I mean, it's not great, but it's not bad. So the movies that I selected were all, I think, on Amazon Prime. Thank you, Amazon, for being just a treasure trove of really terrible movies. We appreciate you. Because after seeing VelociPastor, as Sean said, I was like, ooh, mashups, that's going to be fun. And obviously I have to put VelociPastor on it because it looks terrible. But the other movies were Inhuman Witch, Clownado, and Arachnoquake.
That's the one I voted for.
Yeah, that one looks like fun. And at some future point, I might just have an earthquake-themed torture cinema, just so I can put that one back on.
Awesome.
I am not responsible for this.
Awesome.
But yes, so you guys all selected, our patron selected VelociPastor, and I know I brought this on myself. I fully admit that. However, I still hate you with like a fiery passion right now because I just finished watching it about an hour or so ago, and I almost didn't make it.
I just want to note, can I just note something that is fucking ridiculous about the cast of this movie?
Everything? The fact that the director's dad starred in it?
Everything about this is terrible, but like, there's one of the people billed in this film is billed as dinosaur suit performer.
Yeah, that's the director's brother. So
That doesn't even happen till the end of the movie.
Right, it doesn't.
No, you just see flashes every time before that. It's very, it's like an homage to Alien and Aliens in that respect, I think.
Let's not do that. No. This is not an homage to fucking anything. I mean, if anything, this is an homage to, like, Three Little Ninjas.
Oh, God. Okay. We need to tell everybody what we're drinking, even though I'm actually just drinking coffee, so I'm done. But that is part of our torture cinema process. And then we have to give the summary.
Well, it'll be an easy one, because this film it'll sound as dumb as it is as to watch.
Indeed it will. So, Sean, what are you drinking this evening?
Well, unfortunately, I am getting over a cold still. I've got the lingering dead bodies my body is trying to expel through my lungs.
I can sympathize.
Yeah, Paul and I were both sick, and so I am not drinking any alcohol because I don't want that to interfere with my recovery. So instead, I am drinking some lemon zinger with some extra ginger.
Ooh.
And that's what I'll be drinking for tonight.
Lemon zinger, by the way, is my favorite tea ever.
It's very good tea. Oh, I also have extra lemon in this.
Yeah, it's the best way to go.
So I've got like a whole like tablespoon of like ground ginger in this. So
Paul, what about you?
I am just drinking dihydrogen monoxide in the liquid form.
Oh my god, Paul, that's the most dangerous stuff that comes out of the back of airplanes.
It comes out of a lot of things, Sean.
Wow, Paul, you like, oh my god, you know about chemtrails, right?
Yeah, I know about chemtrails.
Do you really know they're part of the deep state?
Yes, I know they're about part of the deep state that our blessed beloved President Trump is going to squash, and so...
Yeah, he's going after dihydrogen monoxide with every fiber of his being.
I'm pretty sure that's what the CDC announcement was about yesterday.
Oh yeah, just drink water. That'll cure coronavirus.
I mean, actually, it will help to stay hydrated, but that's
when you have Vice President Pence and head of a science council on viruses, yeah, I think drinking water might actually be above his intelligence level.
Right. We're all doomed, and the last podcast we're going to be putting out is on this movie. You're welcome.
Oh my god!
Yeah. But great, Paul, water it's very important. As always, hydrate. Normally we drink alcohol when we do this, but hydration is incredibly important.
Especially when you're getting over a virus.
And since this is a Thursday night and I still have some work to do, I'm drinking coffee and then grapefruit flavored seltzer water.
Nice.
I know, right?
We're like living on the edge, guys.
Living on the edge this week.
Woo!
Yes. Woo!
Party!
It's like this movie, Living on the Edge.
Oh.
Yeah, well, it's...
You wound me.
Well, thanks for segueing us back into the movie, Paul. Taking the fun out of everything.
Oh. Paul didn't do that. The movie did that, Sean.
Oh. Well, okay, so we do need to follow in Paul's lead and actually cover what this movie is about. And we didn't determine a volunteer for this, so who would like to volunteer?
I have seen this movie twice, so I should do the honors.
Oh my god, Paul! Why?
You watched it twice. Is that affecting your recovery?
Well, one time was while I was sick, so that one was kind of hazy, so I had to watch it again.
Are you sure you didn't watch it and then get sick?
No, I am positive. I'm positive there's no causal relationship here.
How positive could you be? Because you could have hallucinated. You might have been running a fever.
I was running a fever, but that's okay.
Okay, great. Paul, tell us what this film is about.
Okay. VelociPastor is the classic story of Pastor Doug Jones, who is a young seminarian whose family dies in an explosion before his eyes. Although on the screen, all we see is VFF car on fire, hence my tagline. We never actually see the explosion. And so distraught, his pastorally mentor sends him to China, of all places, which kind of looks just like the woods around the rest of the movie. While he is in China, he runs into a woman running away from an archer, carrying a mysterious dinosaur fossil. He gets the fossil, he gets blood on the fossil, and so, like a werewolf, he turns into VelociPastor and kills the guy who's killed the woman. Back home, he is tortured by these transformations and these hungers, and his path is intersected with a young prostitute who is dealing with a pimp named Frankie Mermaid who winds up getting eaten.
I would like to clarify something. It's actually a young med school student.
Yes, she, that's right.
Also a prostitute.
Actually, she's pre-med law, to be precise. She's
she's pre-med law student, right?
Pre-med law student who is also a prostitute, who is dealing with a pimp named Frankie Mermaid.
And why is he called Mermaid?
Because quote unquote, sorry listeners, swimming in bitches.
Yes.
This is this kind of way this movie goes.
Yes.
So the pre-med student and the pastor team up to decide to eat and claw their way around the evil that's around the town. Unbeknownst to them, there is a secret Christian cult of ninjas who are trying to take control of the world, and they have been fighting the Dragon Warrior like Pastor Doug Jones all their lives, so they are not going to allow Doug Jones to stand in the way. Also, in the meantime, Doug Jones's mentor tries to get some exercise, and we get a weird segue where we find out his mentor was actually in Vietnam, and for some reason his fiancée was killed in Vietnam. Very weird. But then, twist, it turns out that one of the ninjas is actually his brother, and so there is a brotherly battle at the end, along with all the ninjas. The prostitute / pre-med law student dies, although not really, and then they live happily ever after as they're going to go fight this Christian cult of ninjas around the world. The end.
Yep.
That's VelociPastor.
That's VelociPastor.
Can you believe it was done on a budget of $35,000?
It's shocking, I tell you. Shocking.
I'm so amazed that this film got made at all, because like some of the background of of the making of this film is absolutely banana pants. Like, so it started as a class project.
I really want to meet the woman who apparently funded this.
There's a woman that funded it?
Yes. Supposedly. Yes.
Oh.
This film was anonymously funded, although I believe it mentions that it was a woman. He just doesn't know what woman, who gave him the $35,000 to make the movie.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it came from a mother of a friend of Brendan Steer, the director.
Yes.
So, but I think it's even more removed. The mother of a friend of Brendan Steer's. And I will note that this film originally began as a class project, as a part of a fake short film of fake Grindhouse trailers, which included this film. And apparently his YouTube videos had really no traction. And then he got 45,000 views on this fake Grindhouse trailer video. And that apparently made him think, this really could be my big break. And then here we are, watching VelociPastor.
I mean, 86% of Google users liked this movie.
I can kind of see why some people might.
Yeah, and it did really well on sort of this independent horror film circuit, because there is definitely a market out there for bad movies, especially deliberately bad movies.
And this is very deliberately bad.
And there's a reason that our very own David Annandale spoke at the premiere in Winnipeg of this movie. So, there's that. We love you, David. And your very questionable taste in films.
This is his wheelhouse.
This is 100% his wheelhouse.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that leads us to what is the purpose of today, which is to go through our likes and then eventually our dislikes. And so I am going to turn to Jen for your first dislike, please. Or first like, which, look, it's probably going to be the same for you. So just, first like if you can.
There's literally nothing to like about this movie, but I'm going to go with, I guess, the soundtrack.
Okay.
Not the score, if it had one. I don't actually know if it really had one that was something beyond just, what they found on Free Music Archive. But it had some good sort of punk rocky songs that played occasionally. And I didn't check to see who did that because I don't actually give a shit who did those songs. But they were thematically appropriate to the scenes that they were in.
Well, that's true.
Wow, such good like.
Thank you.
So good, Jen.
Thank you.
Wow.
I did it. I found one. Yay! Go me.
There's something like in everything.
I mean, of all the things you picked, you went for the soundtrack.
Well, I mean, what else am I going to go for? No, don't answer that question. Do not answer that question.
There are 1,000 alternatives you could have gone for.
No, there aren't. There are not. You're lying
really
to
are.
me right now. Lying. Paul already mentioned the one thing that is a legitimately funny moment, and then it's just downhill from there.
Honestly, you should just recuse yourself.
Why?
You're like a Supreme Court justice that clearly has the hands in the cookie jar, presiding over a case
cookies.
involving the cookie jar. That's
yeah,
like you right now.
Cookies, yeah. I'm with you, Paul. Paul, speaking
Yes.
of, what's your like?
Okay, my like, you're kind of right, Jen. There's not a lot to really like in this film. It is objectively terrible, but I'm going to go with a small but noticeable thing I noticed. From all I could tell, I'm not an expert in the language. From all I could tell, though, all the Chinese language dialogue was done straight. It wasn't done in a inoffensive or like chop suey kind of manner, which I was kind of expecting given this. So I was kind of going in there when I saw the ninjas, like, okay, they're going to speak in some horrible over the top racist Asian accent, and the Chinese protagonist just seems to speak Chinese in a measured and regular way as if that's his native language, and they could have gone for the cheap joke of him speaking broken English or something stupid like that, but they actually showed some respect for the actor and the character and just actually having him speak in Chinese, and I appreciate that. It was played straight, which I wasn't expecting given this film, so I'll give it credit for them not going for that awful joke and just actually, yeah, okay, so we have a character whose primary language is Chinese. Great.
I will say, though, that when he does actually speak English right at the end, he does so with that sort of generic bad Chinese accent English, which is unfortunate given, as you say, that the rest of the film, it's, not played for laughs. But that last second, he does. And I was like, oh, you guys were so close.
That's fair. It's like, I think all the likes in this film are kind of tainted.
Everything. I think, yes. Everything about this film is tainted.
I could give an alternate like, but I don't want to steal from Sean.
No.
I got a lot of likes.
How do you have a lot of likes?
Look, this movie's dumb, but it's also like so intentionally dumb, it's kind of funny.
No, it really wasn't though. Like, it just wasn't. Okay, I know, I'm done. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm just going to...
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Did you just ring a bell at me?
No, I don't have a bell. The fuck are you talking about?
How dare!
I don't have a bell. How can I ring a bell?
Was that you, Paul?
I rang the bell.
Oh!
I was ringing the bell at the both of you.
You rang my bell.
Did you just ring your bell at me, sir?
Ring my bell.
I rang my Nepalese bell at the both of you.
That was very well played, Paul. I have to admit. Go ahead. I apologize. I just had to clarify that it wasn't you. Paul's allowed to ring the bell. You are not.
Paul's allowed to ring your bell?
Ring my bell. Ring my bell, not her bell.
A bell at me.
It's a lovely Nepalese bell.
It sounded beautiful.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Just remember the song, kids.
Paul, can you do me a favor and
Yes.
just ring periodically while Sean's talking so I don't have to listen to him?
Paul, I live within a 4-hour drive of you.
He does. He knows where I live too. He can find me.
Oh, curses foiled again. All right. Feel free to share your like, Sean.
Look, so this movie is dumb, but it's intentionally dumb. And that makes for moments that, in my opinion, are really quite amusing. One of them we've already talked about, which was Paul's tagline, the VFX car on fire, because the budget was so small they couldn't actually have any reasonable VFX in this, so there was literally just a set of text over where a car used to be, saying that that's what was happening. So it was pretty funny. But I find a lot of the dialogue absurdly hilarious at times because it is so dumb. And so I will use as an example the moment just after his parents die, in which he is commiserating with his Father Stewart, and says to Father Stewart, why is God? And then he just says, why is God? And he just repeats this over and over a few times. And that whole sequence is full of hilarious stuff. Father Stewart says, so your parents died. That's what parents do. They die on us. There's all these little lines that I just find really, really funny throughout, that are maybe not done service in this film, but I think are generally hilarious. And so if you're going to watch this film, watch it for the dialogue, because things get said here that are just absurd, and it's really hilarious.
No, just don't watch this movie, people! Do not listen to Sean. Do not listen to Sean at all. Save yourselves. Save yourself.
The point of Torture Cinema, I will point out to our listeners, is that we watch these bad movies so that you do not.
Exactly. Don't watch it. And also, no, I'm sorry.
Don't watch it twice either.
The dialogue is objectively terrible. I mean, I will grant you that there are a couple of points, but it's not even good enough to be aware of how bad it is.
Oh no, it's fucking aware.
I agree with Sean actually on this one. I think it is self-referentially aware enough to know that it's a bad movie, but it doesn't transcend the fact that it is bad by knowing that it's bad.
Exactly. That's my point.
No, so look, okay. No, there are lots of moments when this film is very aware of just how silly it is, its entire premises.
Is one of those points when, what did that Chinese say? Is that one of those moments that's supposed to be hilarious?
No.
Because that's just fucking offensive on a lot of different levels.
No.
And once you start from that position, it's just no.
Let me read some beautiful lines.
No,
of
God,
just how
please.
absurdly silly this film is.
Oh, God.
Do I need to ring my bell?
Please.
No.
Please ring it.
No, I have to listen to your commiseration, and I get to tell people on this Jesus fucking Christ, you're like a fucking baby. You're like a goddamn baby.
Okay.
I'm gonna read dialogue now, so shut up.
Can you read it in a Peter Lorre voice?
No, but Paul, do you want to do it with me in a Peter Lorre voice?
Okay. Let's go for it.
Oh my god, this is gonna get weirdly sexual.
Why are you doing this to me?
I put it in the link, and we're gonna do the one where it's Carol and Doug. And who would you prefer to play, Carol or Doug?
I will play Doug.
I hate both of you.
I will be Carol, and I guess I will have to do it as Sean Connery.
I literally hate both of you.
No, just
so
Jen, just shut up and let us have fun. Jesus, it's like you're like the angry mom trying to ruin everybody.
I wish that actually worked on you.
Anyway, Paul, you ready?
Ready.
You got the scenes. The last night was amazing scene.
Yes, I kind of figured that's where you're going with this.
All right, good. All right, here we go. Last night was amazing.
Oh, I see. Let me be fair and say this can never happen again.
Sure, was it just a one-time thing?
Yes, honestly, it never should have happened at all.
That's for sure.
Oh, was it bad?
It was weird.
Oh.
Honestly, it all happened so quickly. I was very scared. I think I even peed myself.
Oh, was it your first time too?
Yeah.
As I said, I'm a priest, so he can never say.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
That time you turned into a dinosaur and ate someone.
Wait, what? What?
Okay, we're done. Just stop.
No, this is brilliant. This sequence is fucking brilliant.
I'm sorry. I could not resist bringing back Peter Lorre for that. Sorry.
I understand, Paul, and I forgive you for that.
Oh, here's why I love this
scene. I will
scene.
never forgive Sean, though.
No, look, shut up, Jen. Just you're done. You're done. I will explain this to Paul, not to Jen, because Jen has no soul. I find this scene utterly hilarious because it's clearly self-aware of the joke that it's making, which is like he's had sex and he's a priest, and I'm like, oh no, priest, he's not supposed to have sex. He's technically a pastor, but also a priest. Oh, whatever. Fucking doesn't matter because it just plays ripshod with the rules of priesthood. But anyway, so it's very aware of the joke it's making. But then the in-joke for the rest of us watching is like, we know he's turned into a dinosaur creature. So there's all these different layers to this one little scene, and it's, in my opinion, actually quite funny.
There's
also,
no layers. No layers.
There's fucking multiple layers to this joke, Jen. You know that there are.
No,
and Paul
there's one
agrees
layer.
with me. This
One
joke
layer.
has layers.
One.
It's got
It's
two.
got like 3 or
fine.
4.
2 layers. It does not have 3 or 4 layers. It has maybe 2 layers, if you're being generous. And meanwhile, the type of acting that they've chosen, like the acting direction that they've chosen for this, makes it obvious that joke is going to happen within the first second that she walks into the room. So it's just an extended sequence of, okay, I saw that coming. Can we finish now? I'm just uncomfortable.
Well, he finished for sure. Yeah.
You're
feel a lot like
disgusting.
David right now, trying to explain like why he likes a movie. And like you are like the irrational hater who just doesn't actually have good reasons, and also seems to have like perpetually missed the joke.
No, I got the joke every single time. It was just bad jokes.
No, the jokes are great.
No, the jokes are not great.
She's a hooker. No, she's pre-med law, and she's doing it to put herself through college. That's fucking hilarious. Right? Father Stewart talking about parents dying, and that's what parents do. That's hilarious. Doug Jones, the pastor, literally making a joke about how he doesn't believe her about dinosaurs because he doesn't think dinosaurs exist at all. And then later on, they come back to the joke.
Yes, that one was a good joke. That one brief moment.
No,
and you could have just done
stop.
that.
Just stop. No,
You're
let
the
me
one
get
that's
this out.
repeating
Jesus
bad
fucking
jokes.
Christ. You're like the worst. Later, they bring back that joke when Carol is like, well, we gotta kill people because like you're like a dinosaur monster, man, and so we gotta do it. And he's like, oh, well, maybe I'll do it for God. And she responds with, I don't know a lot about God. And he's like, that's fine. I don't know a lot about dinosaurs. It's great. Fucking great. There's great dialogue in here that is absolutely banana pants stupid, but is hilarious.
I may not agree entirely with the argument, Sean, but on the other hand, you make a cogently well argued case for why you like the movie.
I'm not saying I like the movie. I'd say I find the movie more enjoyable than other films we've watched because it is deliberately being absolutely dumb as balls.
That's true.
And that's different than some films we've watched, which are trying to be like what's it, the Demolition Valley or whatever that one we watched is, right? Where it's trying to be a serious film, and this comes off as really fucking stupid.
Demolition Valley?
Damnation Alley.
Whatever, the one with the giant fucking weird tractor they spend like $8 trillion making these vehicles for.
This town is infested with killer cockroaches.
This is so dumb. But that movie tried to be good. This film, it just gave up. And I knew the moment it gave up was when we got the VFX title card that just told us.
It didn't give up. There was no giving up. It was meant to be a bad movie. It was meant to be a bad movie from inception. And I will totally 100% agree with that. And therefore, it spends the movie being a bad movie, which is fine. I understand that is a market, as I have said over the course of this podcast. However, there are very few moments where that is actually successful in this film, in my opinion. That's all I'm saying.
I just don't think that you enjoy life. I think that's just really what this comes down to.
Not when I'm forced to watch movies like this, no. Whereas, on the other hand, I can unironically watch Sharknado and laugh my ass off.
I don't even know. I don't even know what to do with you anymore, Jen. I just honestly, I'm just at a loss.
This one just made me uncomfortable, like 99% of the time. Let's go to dislikes, shall we?
Oh, God. Wow. Well, Jen, give us your dislikes since we know you fucking hate everything.
I mean, I do literally hate everything. I'm gonna go with the entire Voltaire sequence. Nope. I'm gonna go with the entire Vietnam sequence.
That was not
which was not only unnecessary, but
fucking hilarious.
generally offensive. So I'm gonna go with that.
Why was that? Why?
I just don't like Vietnam as a joke. I really don't. Not to mention that they, have an extended joke about the Vietnamese and communists. And yeah, it made me uncomfortable. Also, that yellow wig on the dad. Sorry, on Father Stewart.
On Father Stewart. The fucking terrible wig.
Like, that starts out like making you kind of go, oh my God, that's gross. And then it just gets worse from there.
No, I found it hilarious.
No, I didn't like it. I think the only interesting part of that entire sequence is Father Stewart at the very end just standing there.
Covered in the blood of
his loved one.
In Amarata.
Yeah, I think that was my favorite part of that scene. The otherwise, I have a problem with, and this is true in all types of comedy, I have problems with jokes that are disrespectful for no reason. And that entire sequence had literally no purpose whatsoever.
It was a time filler for the ritual, so yeah, it did nothing.
It did nothing for the film, and I think it inevitably detracted from it.
Father Stewart is not our protagonist.
No, he's not our protagonist, and the Voltaire sequence as it was, Altair, the actor's name is Voltaire, don't ask. The Altair sequence was like, okay, whatever. But by adding in like this weird connection between the two of them, because like for whatever reason, it explains why Father Stewart became a priest. Sure, fine. But we didn't need that explanation. And so we didn't need that double layer of just being generally disrespectful towards the Vietnam War and the massive amount of death that occurred in Vietnam because of it. It was just gross.
No, I found it hilarious, but...
Yeah, that's because you have no taste.
No, I don't think of myself as being that sensitive about a lot of these things, so...
No, I mean, that's true. And I am definitely sensitive about things, more sensitive than a lot of people,
You are.
I will totally own up to that fact. But I stopped liking this movie within the first, minute.
You hated it the first shot.
No, I loved the VFX.
Oh, sure, okay.
I actually had high hopes.
No, okay, nobody buys that.
I literally said that was the funniest part of the movie.
Nobody buys it, Jen.
Okay, whatever. That's fine. Paul, what's your dislike?
Okay, it's a small thing, but maybe I'm giving the movie too much grief given its $35,000 budget, but the wood scenes look neither like China nor Vietnam, and you can tell, and it's like, this looks nothing, and he's like crawling through the woods like, that doesn't look like Chinese forest in the least. And then later when we have the aforementioned terrible Vietnam flashback scene, they're in the exact same woods and it looks just as unconvincing. And sometimes on Torture Cinema we've gotten weak likes out of actually the scenery. I'm giving a dislike for the scenery for this one because it's it broke the tiny veneer of immersion that this movie actually manages. It's like, doesn't look like China at all. Couldn't you even tried a little bit? But no. So there are many other things dislike in this movie, but I hated those woods. I don't want to ever go anywhere near where those woods are. I will never bring my camera to those woods. Those are terrible woods trying to stand in for America, China, and Vietnam, and it doesn't work.
Right? It was like, not only was it like a bad China or a bad Vietnam, because it was both of those things, but it was just a bad location in general. They just weren't attractive woods.
It's like, no, I'm going to send out, I'm going to send this out, Sean. I mean, so we have Carol, the prostitute pre-med law student, who's gone to the park because Frankie Mermaid told her to take chicks in the park, and it's just a random path in the park. How is this a business model? It's a terrible park location for a prostitute trying to pick up a John. It's like, I mean, if it was like a city, when she used to go to the park, I was like, oh, good, she's going to go to a city park. Like, no, she goes to these stupid woods that makes no sense that a random person's going to come on the at the park looking for a sex worker, legal or not. It's like, no, this is a very bad filming location. Bad, bad, bad.
Yeah.
I mean, if I want to extend it out, that street is rather dull and insipid looking that we see over and over again throughout the movie. The ninja camp is okay, although I'm quite sure why is there a ninja camp sitting on this hill over this city in the first place, and why no one's ever seen it before.
A Chinese Christian ninja camp of drug dealers.
But they have drug dealers with a purpose, and I understand their evil plan because I saw this movie twice. I mean, get the population addicted, and then take away the supply, and then they will turn to God. And
it was actually one of the better plans.
I mean, it's an evil, stupid plan, but it actually might work.
You know, it's what colonizers have been doing for a while. So
yeah, just be doing it to Americans, which I guess. David, if David here would say this is a excellent deconstruction of colonialist narratives, and by inverting the tropes and showing it being turned upon Americans.
Speaking of which, that was a good moment when it says, what is it, X-rated?
Rated X by an all-Christian jury. That was one of my alternate likes.
Yeah, that was cute.
Was that line.
But as I said, I wasn't sure if I was being punished by God for watching this during Lent, or if I was sinning specifically.
I'm glad I watched it before Lent.
I know, right?
Honestly, I feel like if you watched this film during Lent, it would deconvert you.
The movie definitely has a viewpoint about proselytizing Christianity, which is not kind. I mean, yes. Consider by the end, the priest is be defrocked and de-virginized and is going to go fight the Christian ninjas wherever they may be. That's not exactly like a pro-Christian message.
No, I missed somehow what inevitably happened to Father Stewart.
He got his eye pulled out, but he
lived. No, not only that, then he got stabbed. I pulled out, the Christian ninjas saved him, and then the head of the Christian ninjas stabbed him. So.
Okay, I thought that's what happened, but I was looking at my phone so that I didn't have to watch at that moment, so.
I see.
And my phone was far more amusing. All right.
Oh, God, Jen.
All right, Sean.
All right. So, there's really not much that I dislike about this film.
Oh, God.
Shut up, Jen. Nobody cares about your opinion. You're so rude. So rude. Just imposing your view on everybody else. Anyway.
Oh no.
Do go on.
Yeah, I'll go on. I will. Fucking hate you.
I'm sorry.
Are you okay?
Jen, did we break you, Jen?
I'm sorry, I'm gonna mute myself so you can go on.
Are you okay?
I think we broke Jen.
What happened? I didn't say anything that funny.
Oh no.
Yeah, you did actually. There isn't much to dislike about this film. Excuse me? Okay, go ahead, please.
You okay?
She will be okay now.
Okay. So, anyway, so the thing that I think I dislike the most about this is something that I probably was supposed to find enjoyable, but it is that the dinosaur costume that they have in this is really fucking terrible.
Yes, it is.
And while I appreciate this film's commitment to doing this low-budget shitstorm of a type of film, I do, if I'm honest, kind of wish that they had put a little bit more effort into the dinosaur costume, or at least had done some more clever shooting so that they could have worked with a decent-looking velociraptor head. But instead, they just used almost like one of those weird inflatable dinosaur costumes.
So, you clearly didn't read the wiki, because this was one of the most hilarious facts about this movie. That costume was actually from a high school movie that he was going to do, and they didn't get approval because it was too violent. They were going to remake The Last Dinosaur, film as a play or as a short film or something. And so he made specifically that costume for that production. And then the school wouldn't allow them to put it on, and it got stashed in his garage for some reason. And so there he was a decade later going, I need a dinosaur costume.
Surprise!
Look what I happen to have! They spent more on the makeup for the change, his first, change, than they did on the costume. It was like $400 for the makeup artist, which was one of their priciest expenses.
Line items, yeah.
Yeah. So that, just FYI, is why they used the costume that they used, because he made it in high school.
Well, that doesn't really help me like it more.
No!
Because it's a really terrible, shitty-looking costume.
So bad!
And his brother, apparently, who was the puppet actor for this, was, I gotta be honest, gave a very lackluster performance as a dinosaur. I did not find it particularly alluring or terrifying.
No, it was not compelling.
Well, I get that this is supposed to be dumb. I think that this would have been benefited by, a weird bit of contrast of, really well done special effects for the horror with really shitty everything else. And I think that contrast would have been a lot of fun to watch, of just, really well done horror sequences, but then also, really fucking ridiculous dialogue.
Honestly, I think at that point, based on the quality of that costume, that they should have just gone with the inflatable dinosaur costume, and that would have made it 100 times more amusing to me.
Oh god, could you just imagine it's bobbing around, the head's flopping about with the little tiny arms?
Can you imagine that while fighting the ninja?
Oh god.
That would have been hilarious.
Oh god, it's so bad. And they do a lot of weird shortcuts for special effects. So when he's transforming into the VelociPastor, they black out his teeth to make it look like he has sharp upper teeth. But they only do the upper teeth.
Don't look at me.
Did you notice that?
You save money where you can.
Yep.
I know, but you'd think that they would do it on both sides so that it looked like he has sharp teeth on both. Or just get some inserts.
That might cost too much.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The vampire teeth will probably cost too much, so.
Oh, right, yeah, because that, $3.99 at Walmart is just too much.
Well, given the budget of this film, maybe it was, Sean. Maybe
I have a feeling the $35,000 just went for the weird camera work, because he also does a lot of weird things with the camera. Where he zooms in and then past people, then also back to them and back out. It's, really bizarre stuff.
Yeah, it's not great.
No, it's...
I will say there are actually a few sort of clever uses of cuts and cross-screen footage. When they're having sex, for instance, that was not a terrible sequence, because in order to basically not show anything, they just do the cut screen stuff and the half screen and screen within screen type of sequence. And they did that a few times.
I thought was good.
Yeah, they did that a few times, and those were actually reasonably interesting. For a low budget film, I think it's a really intelligent move. But then there were other things like you just mentioned that you're what are you doing? Do you know what you're doing? I don't think you know what you're doing.
Sometimes it seems like he knows what he's doing, and then sometimes it's just were you drunk that day?
They think it's funny.
Well, maybe.
By focusing in on things that you're why are you focusing in? Oh, the other point that was actually kind of funny was when I don't remember the whole line, but it's right at the end when the ninja are lined up waiting for him to say the last word of something, and one of them looks at their watch. That was cute.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
okay.
That's cute.
Yeah. And that is one of those moments where that extended shot and weird camera panning actually worked. But for the most part, not so much.
Yeah, that's just, yeah. Yeah, I'm rewatching that sequence now, the sex scene sequence, which actually is pretty good.
Yeah.
Just the way that they framed it, right, with all of the different clippings of the multiple scenes together, like it's actually very, very well done.
I'm not sure why he would have flashbacks of all of his murders while having sex with her. That's kind of disturbing, but
well, I do that too.
Le Petit Mort, maybe? I
don't know. Paul, you dirty man.
Dirty.
No.
Naughty.
Let's give our general impressions.
And the final reactions and our grade, you mean, which goes to you, Jen. Grade cautiously.
I'm just gonna give it a D. Honestly, like.
Well, that's better than I thought.
Yeah, I'm not gonna utterly fail it because I do know what it was trying to do, and I hated it. And it literally, I'm not even kidding. It gave me physical pain and nausea, especially during that sex sequence that was like all flickery and weird, and gave me a migraine because it's a flashing. By the way, if you have seizure problems or migraine problems, do not watch this movie. But yeah, I just can't like muster the energy to continue to hate it more than that, frankly.
Oh, God. After all the fuss you fucking threw recording this podcast.
Oh, it's terrible. I mean,
yeah.
It's genuinely terrible, and I'm glad that we're about to be finished talking about it.
Jen, I just want you to know, because it's very likely I'm going to die before you, I am making it a requirement that this is played during my funeral and that you have to sit through it.
No.
Yep. If you don't, I will have triggered a group of ninja drug dealers who are also Christians to have you assassinated.
Okay, that's acceptable because I would rather be assassinated than watch this movie again.
Okay, so I will rephrase. My siblings, I will give them orders to have you tied down and your eyes propped open so that you have to watch this during my funeral.
I think I can take them.
You can't take my sister.
No, definitely not. But your brother's a big softie, so he's fine. Paul, your final thoughts and grade.
Okay, so I didn't hate this movie as much as I thought I would, but I also didn't like the movie as much as I was hoping to. I was hoping for a diversion. I was hoping for something above the level of our normal badness of torture cinema. And this movie tried to reach for it. It right from the straight of the VFX car and fire to some of the very strange choices, but some of the other things. On the other hand, the acting is endearly weird and bad and kind of memorable for that as well. So I am going to be kind to this movie. Maybe because it's my virus. Maybe it's because we're all going to die of coronavirus. Maybe it's because work is strange and my boss is acting odd as usual. Maybe it's any of those reasons, but I am going to give this, for its sins, I am going to give this a C-.
Well done.
Nice, Paul. I have mad respect for it. All of what you just said.
Okay.
I mean, that's
right?
something.
I don't have respect for anything that Jen says.
No.
But honestly, people listening to this podcast probably already know that. So.
It's not news.
Not news at all.
That's why we've been doing this for 10 years, everybody.
Jesus, honestly, sometimes I wonder why.
So that we can subject Paul to our delightful humor.
It is. I don't know if Paul finds it as delightful as we do.
But we love you, Paul.
Oh, I got your card today. Thank you.
Yay!
It's like, who do I know in Rochester? It's like, I only know a couple people who live in upstate New York, and It was you.
Do you like your sticker?
I do, thank you.
You're very welcome. All our patrons get it, but, I love you still anyway. For both, because you're amazing.
Okay, Sean, you're up.
My final thoughts about this movie. Look, I found it enjoyable overall in a way that maybe is not the same kind of enjoyable I would get from a movie that I legitimately seriously like. In that it is stupid. There are moments in it that are funny because they're just so dumb. And I found that enjoyable to watch at times. At the same time, this movie is very low budget. It very much shows in the production, in the shot choice. A lot of this film definitely shows the quality that it is. And for that reason, I can't really give it anything better than a C+. I really enjoyed it in a lot of ways. It's not a great film. I would watch it again because it is so stupid I find it pleasurable. And that's really where I sit.
I have no words.
It's okay, Jen, because honestly, it's better when you don't talk on this podcast.
Oh! But
yeah, because Jen is known as the Jabberwocky on the show.
Hey, shut up.
That is your nickname.
Thank you.
It's true.
So we average out to a C-.
Hey!
That may be the highest we've ever given any Torture Cinema grade.
No, that's not true.
That has to be.
No.
I've had torture cinemas which have gotten a little higher.
Oh, God. Oh, Macamee. That's right, because Macamee's average was a B. That's right.
I wasn't there for that podcast. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, the average of Macamee was B. Yeah. Well, that's because my grade for it counted for 16 grades, so Paul had to do some special averaging for that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes, listeners, one of the reasons why they keep me around is because I do the math for these things.
You are so good at the math, Paul.
You actually, surprisingly. You want to know
surprisingly, that makes it like a... That was really
Why would you say that? It's not surprising at all. You are genuinely good at the math, and the only thing that's surprising is that anybody can make sense of the chaos that is the Skiffy and Fanty show. And for that, I have to give you props.
That is absolutely surprising. I apologize, Paul. It was a bad joke. I was just teasing.
A bad joke from you, Sean? Never.
Hey, don't undercut me actually doing something nice and apologizing to Paul. Stop. Paul, I apologize.
Accept your apology. So one last thing. Sean, I understand that you're a candidate for something. Why don't you tell us about your candidacy for the Down Under Fan Fund?
Yeah, Paul can't tell everybody because that would be bias.
Right.
That is bias. I can't even vote in the thing.
No, but Paul is one of the administrators of the Down Under Fan Fund. I am currently one of the candidates, one of 4 candidates for the Down Under Fan Fund, which is a fund that will eventually send somebody from North America to, this year is to Con Zealand in New Zealand, which is this year's World Con. I would very much like to be the delegate for Duff so that I can go to Con Zealand. And to do that, you need to go to the link that we'll put in the show notes for this episode.
Which is what, Paul?
DownUnderFanFund.com.
Yeah, and there's a document that shows you how to vote. You have to make a donation of at least $5, if I recall correctly.
That is correct.
And then vote for the person you would like to go. Obviously, I would like it if you'd pick me, because I would like to go.
Anyone who is a science fiction fan can vote. If you're listening to this podcast, it's pretty damn certain you're a science fiction fan. So I've had someone ask me, can I vote? Am I a good enough fan? The answer is yes.
Yes. If you know what science fiction and fantasy is, then yes, you are a fan.
So vote. Really, is what it comes down to.
Donate and vote. All the donations help the winning candidate to get to Con Zealand, because going to New Zealand is expensive. Because in 2017, as the Duff person, I myself went to New Zealand and Australia, and I couldn't have done that without the fan fund.
Related point, there is also the Guff, which is the Get Up and Over fan fund, which is for European fans that want to attend Worldcon in New Zealand this year. And also related, the nominating period for Worldcon for the Hugo Awards will be up in just a few weeks. And so you guys should 100%, and I am not even kidding you all, please nominate Paul Weimer for fan writer. Please. Because he is literally the best fan writer I know. Do not nominate us. We suck. However...
shut up. Nominate us for Best Fan Cast too. Paul's on this.
Whatever. Paul is the best fan writer, and he deserved your nomination, and that's all I have to say about that.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I would be over the moon if I wound up being on the ballot.
And you should be on the ballot. If you're not on the ballot, then everybody has made a mistake. Everybody.
All right. Well, on that note, I think we should close out this show. So if you'd like to tell us what you think about things, you can do so at skiffyandfanty@gmail.com, on Twitter at skiffyandfanty. You can find us at skiffyandfanty.com. We also are on Patreon at patreon.com/SkiffyandFanty in case you'd like to support this show.
Which is also where you can vote for the next Torture Cinema.
Correct. And that's basically it.
It is.
So, on that note, I will just note that parents die. That's what they do.
Oh, that's sad.
Stay frosty.
Awkward ending. And scene. If you would like to support this podcast, you can do so at patreon.com/SkiffyandFanty. You can also find us on our website, skiffyandfanty.com, and on Twitter at skiffyandfanty. If you'd like to send us an email, you can do so at skiffyandfanty@gmail.com. The music for this episode comes from Sphere by Creo. You can find out more about their music at freemusicarchive.org.